Christ be with you all. Our help is in the name of the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. Today we gather here to remember a fallen soldier, a fellow countryman, a fellow hussar. Lance Corporal Alfred Raymond Pope was killed on the 18th of August 1944, fighting alongside our French brothers and sisters against that great evil that brought about World War II. Since that day, Lance Corporal Hope's resting place has been here in this very special, very sacred place. And also since that day, his grave has been tended by the nearby residents in a lasting testament to their support to the Allied troops of that great conflict. To them, on behalf of the Queen's Royal Hussars, I offer our heartfelt thanks. I would also like to thank the Mayor, Monsieur Jean-Pierre Hott, Monsieur Lacombe and Madame Fournier for making this event possible. And I would now like to hand over to the Mayor of Ecots, who will address us. Monsieur.
Souvenir d'un soldat tombé sur le champ d'honneur, d'un camarade hussard, le caporal Alfred Raymond Hope, tué le 18 août 1944, combattant aux côtés de nos frères et sœurs français contre ce grand mal que fut la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. Depuis ce jour, le caporal Hope repose dans ce lieu très spécial et sacré. Aussi, depuis ce jour, sa tombe a été entretenue par les résidents de la commune en témoignage de leur soutien pour les troupes alliées dans ce gigantesque conflit. Au nom des Queen's Royal Hussars, je vous exprime notre profonde reconnaissance. Je tiens aussi à remercier M. le maire Jean-Pierre Hott, ainsi que M. Lachaume et Mme Fournier d'avoir rendu possible cette cérémonie.
Chers alliés et amis, en ma qualité de maire et représentant la population d'Ecots, nous vous souhaitons chaleureusement la bienvenue. Il est très approprié d'accueillir en ce jour de commémoration et de recueillement des soldats du Queen Royal Hussars pour honorer la mémoire du caporal Hope tombé sur le champ d'honneur le 18 août 1944. Ici même à Ecots, à quelques pas de chez nous, luttant pour la libération de notre pays. Nous sommes particulièrement heureux d'avoir cette occasion de lui exprimer toute notre reconnaissance devant les représentants de son régiment. Cette cérémonie témoigne de notre gratitude envers lui et sa mémoire restera toujours vivante dans la terre de notre village. Nous vous prions d'excuser l'absence du père Delahaye, curé de Saint-Pierre-sur-Dive, retenu pour les cérémonies patriotiques dans sa ville. Il pense bien à vous. Merci.
The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on the wings of the eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God.
In the Gospel according to St. John, it is recorded that Jesus said these words, and I read them specifically because they are quoted on Lance Corporal Hope's tombstone. Jesus says this: "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lays down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you, and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should abide, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, so that you will love one another. It's very easy, I think, on a day like this, where the damp chill in the air allows our minds to drift back very quickly and very easily back to the history that is very real for all of us gathered here. Some of us are too young to have remembered the conflicts and that we remember today, but we know of it through our collective history and our learning. Some, I'm very humbled to say, are of an age where they can recall in their minds not what they have learned, but what they remember, and remember all too keenly all those years ago. It is a special thing that we gather on this day, and it's special that the length and breadth of this great country, and in our great country back home, we remember this hour and this day. If we forget our past, we put ourselves in a very dangerous place indeed, because our past makes us what we are, a sure knowledge, a fitting celebration, and a confidence in our past, I think puts us in a very good posture to lean forward to a good future. You who are Queen's Royal Hussars know that I'm quite keen on our acts of remembrance, and you'll probably recall a biblical story that I've told before. It is where the Israelites, as they cross the River Jordan, are instructed to pick up a stone, 12 stones in fact, and lay them in a monument. And it's the telling point is that they don't do it for themselves. They choose the stones, they make the monument, so that their children and their children's children will say, why did you do that? And they'll be able to tell them why. And thus one nation's collective history, all that made them what they are, all the events, good and bad, are communicated from one generation to the next. I'm proud that as we stand here, our French brothers and sisters, our UK soldiers, we stand in a very long line of remembrance and look forward, I hope, to a very bright future. We gather with a dual purpose, however. Yes, to celebrate and remember our nation's conflicts and history in a general sense. But there is a specific reason for gathering also, in that we gather to recall in our minds Lance Corporal Alfred Hope, a brother Hussar, someone who, like you gentlemen, has stood in uniform, has followed orders, has gone into battle, and has gave his life. his tomorrow for our today. How appropriate that on his tombstone are the words of our Lord Jesus Christ. Greater love hath no man than this, than he who giveth his life for his friends. True love, true service costs. In my mind I recall that great story, the parable as we call it in biblical terms, that Jesus told his own friends concerning the Good Samaritan, the man who went on a journey, and as he was on that journey he was attacked and waylaid. Who came to his aid? The priest, someone who looked like me, crossed over to the other side and turned a blind eye. The Levite, the lawyer, someone who intellectually should have known better, turned to the other side and walked on by. But it was the Samaritan, the foreigner, who walked to the Samaritan side, to the attacked side, and gave off his time, gave off his reputation, gave off his money to help someone he didn't know. The whole point of that story is that true service, true love costs. But it is a cost worth paying, I would argue, because it is in these acts that we reveal our true character, the elements that make us truly who we are and make us proud for days like this, that we can stand here, celebrate our commonality, our history, and I pray our future together. The Apostle Paul spoke at great length on the spiritual battle, and more often than not the Apostle would draw in military analogies. When he had to address the letter to the church in Ephesus, he concluded his letter writing, putting on the spiritual armour, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the sword of the Spirit. We know that, of course, the Apostle Paul wasn't speaking of true armour in a physical sense, but speaking of something far greater. Aspects of character. Things that, although we cannot touch, although we cannot taste or see or feel, are real nevertheless. If anything, their reality is more profound, because they make us who we are. When we strip back the bare elements of the outside, what we can see, we're left with our core consciousness, with the ingredient parts that make us men and women, who stand with pride and can celebrate and remember on days like this. So I do pray, and I am thankful evermore, that our French brothers and sisters, our UK brothers and sisters, stand here together in one place with common mind, common memory, and shared remembrance. saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more.